Hello, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the third and the last episode of my video series on social and economic systems. In the first and the second episodes, I talked about capitalism and socialism. For those of you who missed them, I will leave the links down below. If you are new to this channel, my name is Frank Zhu, and I'm a college professor teaching sociology, history, and philosophy. I'm also an award-winning landscape photographer. Today, I'm going to talk about communism. But first, let me spend just a couple of minutes introducing to you the founder of communism, Karl Marx. It is hard to find another person who has had as much influence on intellectual history as Karl Marx, who was a philosopher, economist, political theorist, historian, sociologist, journalist, and a revolutionary socialist. His influence is so great that even a very prestigious newspaper here in America listed him as one of the three greatest modern thinkers, the other two being Sigmund Freud and Albert Einstein. Without him, the modern world would have been totally different. By the way, I will make a separate video specifically talking about him and comparing him with other philosophers. If you are interested, please subscribe to my channel. Marx was born in Germany in 1818. As a young man, Marx started out studying law. However, he soon switched to philosophy, believing that philosophy was a better tool with which he could change the world. For him, the world of his time was corrupt and disgusting. He was determined to change it. After receiving his degree in philosophy, he became an editor of a local newspaper. However, when he realized that he could no longer live in Germany because of his radical revolutionary ideas, he moved to Paris. There, Marx met Friedrich Engels, who would become his lifelong collaborator and friend. However, the French authorities would not tolerate his political thinking and drove him out of the country. Eventually, Marx moved to London and spent the rest of his life there until he died in 1883. Marx was a prolific writer. Among his works, the most notable are The Capital and the Communist Manifesto. The former is a huge book with several volumes, in which Marx analyzes the capitalist system with a sharp insight and in great detail. The latter is a political pamphlet in which Marx described all of human history as a series of class struggles and predicted that the upcoming workers' revolution would sweep aside the capitalist system for good and replace it with a socialist and eventually a communist system. His ideas, especially the idea of communism, are often misrepresented and misunderstood by many people, especially here in America, which is the largest capitalist system nowadays. So now, let's find out what communism really is. According to Karl Marx, there are 5 progressive stages of human socio-economic development. The first and earliest stage was what he called the primitive society. It was a society in which people made a living by hunting and gathering, by using very primitive tools. There was no private property and no social class. After the agricultural revolution, private ownership of property and social classes appeared. Human society entered the second stage, which was called by Marx the feudal society, where economic activities were based on the labor of slaves. After the Industrial Revolution, the capitalist society, which is the third stage, appeared, where economic activities centered on seeking profits. In a capitalist society, the class conflicts between capitalists and working class people become so severe that the capitalist society will collapse and be replaced by the socialist society, which is the fourth stage and a transitional stage to communism. Under socialism, according to Marx, productivity will drastically increase, private property will be gradually abolished, and inequalities based on them will disappear. Consequently, socialism will cease to exist and be replaced by communism. As the final stage of human development, communism is completely different from other stages. First, it is a society in which material wealth is so abundant that there will be enough of everything to satisfy everyone's needs. Secondly, there are no class distinctions. People live in absolute economic, political, and social equality. Thirdly, there is no such thing as money. All means of production are collectively owned, and people work for the whole community, not for money. Finally, it is a society in which there are no rules, no laws, and of course, no government. Indeed, everyone is so good, there is no need for a government. Nowadays, people often use a slogan by Marx to describe communism as "from each according to his ability to each according to his need," meaning that everyone works as hard as they can and everyone takes whatever they need. In spite of Marx's prediction, no society nowadays has yet achieved the level of communism as Marx described it. There is no country or place where people can take whatever they need. To put it another way, there is no real communist country in the world today. Now you may ask, then why countries such as China and Cuba are called communist countries? Well, the answer is simple. It is because of misconception and misunderstanding. First of all, a lot of people don't distinguish between socialism and communism. They mistake socialism as communism. China or Cuba or other so-called communist countries are actually socialist countries. Furthermore, the fact that most controlling parties in those socialist countries call themselves communist parties also contributes to the misunderstanding. They name themselves communists because they are followers of Marxist theory and believe that communism will eventually come true. Finally, such misunderstanding is also due to the anti-communist narratives in much of Western media, which describe communist countries as authoritarian countries where there is no freedom. The truth of the matter, however, is that the real Marxist communism is a system in which there is no government whatsoever. The critics of Karl Marx argue that his description of communism only served as an ideal type which can never materialize. Communism, according to them, is only a utopia. Their major argument is that communism is based on the assumption that no one is selfish and no one will take more than they need. But human beings, according to them, are selfish by nature, about which nothing can be done. However, followers of Karl Marx, who call themselves communists, insist that people are not born to be selfish. In a society where there are different classes, people learn to be selfish. If they learn to be selfish, they can also learn not to be selfish. A lot of things can be done to teach people to be less and less selfish until one day selfishness is completely cured. That's why socialism is needed as a transitional period before communism. In this period, efforts are made to educate people and turn selfish into unself. Things such as public property and income equality and others will eventually get rid of selfishness. Though no one is sure how long it will take, those who truly believe in communism are confident that communism will one day come true. Well, that is all that I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.